Number one, the best, the summer one, the shadow one, the shadow one, the number one.
And now, the main news on Radio Cingalo, brought to you by Moose Meeting and Zambia Catholic University.
Radio Cingalo, restoring everything in Christ with love and truth. Good afternoon. With the main news, I'm Patrick Mupeta. The headlines: Honeybee Pharmacy being investigated by the Anti-Corruption Commission. Marketeers at Kamatipa Market empowered. Chan squad to play Libya this afternoon. The details. The Anti-Corruption Commission, ACC, has revealed that it has been investigating the suspected corruption in the manner Honeybee Pharmacy was awarded a contract by the Ministry of Health to supply medical kits since August 2020. ACC Public Relations Manager Timothy Mono revealed that the investigations were instituted arising from information received from a named stakeholder. In a statement, Mr. Mono added that a number of witnesses and suspects have been interviewed and investigations have since reached an advanced stage. Mr. Mono added that the Commission anticipates that the investigations will be concluded soon and has since assured the public that the ACC will not relent to bring to book any persons or entities that will be found involved in the corrupt activities rather. Several individuals and entities have in the past few days called upon the Commission to pursue this matter.
The investigations were instituted arising from information received from a named stakeholder. A number of witnesses and suspects have been interviewed, and investigations have since reached an advanced stage. The Commission anticipates that the investigations will soon be concluded. Several individuals and entities have in the past few days called upon the Commission to pursue this matter. The Commission wishes to assure the public that it will not relent to bring to book any persons or entities that will be found involved in the corrupt activities.
14 COVID-19 patients have died in the last 24 hours with 1,343 new cases recorded. This follows the testing of 11,302 individuals. Newly appointed Health Minister Jonas Chanda, who was giving COVID-19 updates, said 135 patients in different health centers are on oxygen support machines. Dr. Chanda also disclosed that 235 patients are currently hospitalized. Now, marketeers at Kamatipa Market in Kitwe have been empowered with 40,000 by PF 40,000 kwacha by PF Chimwemwe constituency aspiring candidate Alan Banda. Mr. Banda says the fund is aimed at enabling marketeers have sustainable capital and boost their businesses. And in an interview with Radio Chengelo News, Kamatipa traders thanked Mr. Banda for the empowerment fund.
So they say, let me see a point to that's to Rangash. Swagulaja a business why car food to go regular to tomato. There are a couple of cents. Panama to Teresa, Papa, Banda, particular fields about Kamasta. Rosa to Mushalema Pocota, she's about coming from Makamu and Kumpanda. So that I do have to trace around the point, power and no get there, but what about Kanaka? That's what office of Papa Panta is for Stop sales to tomato, to Malasha, to credit. Our Sava Padesana. The Sunday Panama. All of them them to look quarter. So I'm not going to get it. But for total Lisa, I'm okay. There's a Papa.
And Association of Vendors and Marketeers of Vemakito District Chairperson Aston Sakala called on members to unite and support the revolving fund project.
Which start disappointing program, this not what Iranda and Tungulusi, for a program empowerment. Change one national market week at Tane. Our district friend, Tulayam Fulanda, to report in a free nation. Okuta twala kwaya awo twala mbanabena nangula abala twafishako bana market Mukito district nangula muchimwemwe constituency.
Meanwhile, Avema Vice General Secretary Dweste Date Walia took time to sensitize marketeers on staying safe amid the outbreak of COVID-19.
They can get on market. Na wewe nabalesa kumushika na ngulukia balefwala mulefwala na wewe kengira mu market ngakaba kwete mask bale muletero obulwele kibuchinta bibwa market bwa kudilako bale yabele market shaya papa nena nomba hapo bali tendeke emirimu n'okufimba n'abafimba okulubali ikasuka ikwati ni empowerment ikalamba sana ni empowerment yotwefaya ukitule isunga okuyisungirira okuti abantu beyonaola nga yakwa mfirimu abanamalaiti tafu.
Chingola Mayor Titus Tembo is warning of punitive action against those trading in undesignated areas as street vending continues to rise. Speaking to Radio Chingola News in Chingola, Mr. Tembo said the local authority will not hesitate to deal with traders who are underplaying the directive of not conducting business on the street. Mr. Tembo said he wants to see sanity in the district.
Why we don't want people to be on the streets is like one, we don't have sanitary facilities like toilets. Most of these people tend to use whatever piece of container they use to answer the call of nature. Then secondly, our streets will be crowded and it will be very difficult for people to walk on these streets. Then thirdly, the merchandise that they will be selling on these streets will be exposed to a lot of environments. Probably they can even be contaminated because people carry a lot of things on their feet when they're walking on these streets.
Lufwanyama Town Council Chairperson Moses Chiuka says a contractor named Choice Build will begin working on the dilapidated 110 kilometer stretch Lumpuma Mukutuma Road after the rainy season. The poor state of the road has remained a major source of concern to the local people who use it to transport farm produce to Kalulushi. Speaking to Radio Chengulo News via telephone, Mr. Chiuka says Lumpuma Mukutuma is one of the two roads earmarked for construction in the district. He explained that the contractor was expected to begin works in June last year, but delayed and only came on site in December.
And the contractor the people to be back in the rain season. So better to wait until after the rain season. That's what I mean. That's very right. That's what the road is here for rehabilitation. That is the 110 kilometers.
In more news, Opposition United Party for National Development UPND leader Hakainde Hichilema has challenged the Bank of Zambia to disclose how much gold it has bought. Speaking this morning during a media briefing whose focus was on the happenings in the mining sector, Mr. Hichilema said Zambians deserve to know the amount of gold bulls purchased. Mr. Hichilema further emphasized that the public should also know what is in the country's gold reserve. The opposition leader further talked about the need to pay well miners at Konkola Copper Mines, which has been split into 2 units.
Why should the Bank of Zambia fail to disclose the actual figures of the gold they bought? How much gold they bought? We want full disclosure. We don't want Jonko. We want the full disclosure. Because this is our gold. This gold belongs to the people of Zambia. So tell us, what have you bought in full since you started buying gold? And from who have you bought the gold? Why should the Zambian government, in this case, trust foreigners to manage our gold at the expense of Zambia? I ask this question.
The Bank of Zambia signed an agreement with Zambia Gold Company Limited for purchase of the metal. Until 1999, the Bank of Zambia procured gold for its reserves from Zambia Consolidated Copper Mines Limited, but liquidity challenges saw the portfolio being liquidated. Now the Bank of Zambia wants Zambia Gold Company Limited, as well as Kansanshi Mining PLC, to oversee mining, processing, refining, and marketing of gold in Zambia. China has remained a primary human rights concern in 2021. Federal Religious Freedom Commissioner Nadine Mainza reiterated that China is still of utmost concern of the U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom, USCIRF. Mainza called on the United States and international businesses to pressure China to end the horrible situation there. According to the Catholic News Agency, USCIRF is a bipartisan federal commission that promotes religious freedom abroad and reports on religious persecution to the State Department. Commissioners are appointed by both Republican and Democratic members of the Congress. Let's see what we have in sports. The Chipolopolo African Nations Championship Chan squad will this afternoon play Libya in the final preparatory match at the Jopoma Stadium Annex in Douala. Zambia has been in Cameroon for 2 weeks and participated in a 4 national pre-Chan tournament in Yaoundé, where they drew 3-3 with Niger before losing 2-0 to Uganda. In the final match, Zambia beat Cameroon 2-0 to finish second at the tournament. According to FAR's media coach, Mladen Micho Strodovic will be looking to refine his team when his side takes on the Mediterranean Knights of Libya, who are also part of the Chan tournament.
Against 2 teams of Libya, friendly match on the Jopoma Stadium in Douala. It will be our last test, and after that test, knowing which players are competitors to keep them up and polish the level of their competitive form ready for the Tanzania under 18, and who are not, also to work on them so that we have a competitive team that will represent Zambia, Zambian football, and Zambia's best possible way for the start of the tournament on 19th against Tanzania.
The match will kick off at 17 hours Central African Time, CAT. This news broadcast comes to you in the community service of Radio Chengelo with compliments of Mosmeli and the Zambia Catholic University, and now the international news as monitored from the BBC. Close to 5,000 Central African Republic car refugees have fled to eastern Cameroon following clashes between the army and rebel groups in the country. The United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees says more than 30,000 Central Africans have fled their country since the 27th December presidential elections and sought refuge in Cameroon, Chad, Democratic Republic of Congo, and Congo-Brazzaville. The UNHCR says at least 500 Central African refugees enter Cameroon every day. Almost every refugee arriving here has a story of horror and pain of losing loved ones in fleeing the conflict. A coronavirus vaccine developed by China's Sinovac has been found to be 50.0% effective in Brazil clinical trials, according to the latest results released by researchers. It shows the vaccine is significantly less effective than previous data suggested, barely over the 50% needed for regulatory approval. The Chinese vaccine is one of the two that the Brazilian government has lined up. Brazil has been one of the countries worst affected by COVID-19. Let's look at our last story on our main news. Liz Montgomery, the only female inmate in federal death row in the US, has been executed for murder. She received a lethal injection at a prison in Terre Haute, Indiana, after a latest minute stay of execution was lifted by the US Supreme Court. The case attracted attention because her lawyers argued she was mentally ill and suffered serious abuse as a child. The 52-year-old strangled a pregnant woman before cutting out and kidnapping her baby in Missouri in 2004. Her victim, 23-year-old Bobby Josnat, bled to death. On that story, we recap on our headlines. Honeybee Pharmacy being investigated by the Anti-Corruption Commission. Marketeers at Kamatipa Market empowered. Chance Squad to play Libya this afternoon. You can still listen to the rebroadcast of the news on our YouTube channel. Also listen to us on Radio Garden. Remember to play your part in the fight against coronavirus pandemic by adhering to the safety guidelines as outlined by the Ministry of Health and the World Health Organization. Wear a mask when in public, avoid large groups, and maintain social distance. Avoid unnecessary movements. Wash your hands frequently for at least 20 seconds. This has been Patrick Mpeta with the main news. Thank you very much for listening.